Glad to be back, Mike. I agree that running back has changed. I think that if you're in the first half of the draft, in the first round, you really have to go with one of the top 5 feature backs. But if you're in the back end of the first round, you're really looking at the wide receivers, maybe one running back. But after the first 10 to 12 names go off the table in the first couple rounds, you're really looking at committee guys or guys that aren't really used in the passing game or two-down guys, because the committee backfield has really taken over between coaches believing that you need more than one to be effective, and injuries do happen, and the fact that they don't want to have a workhorse anymore, or not many backs are being capable of being a workhorse. It's really diminished the value of the position after you get past those first few guys.
Last week we talked quarterbacks, which typically you wouldn't take as your number 1 overall, number 2 overall, number 3 overall. Typically they go running back. Who are the guys in the mix for those top 3 spots this year?
Top 3 guys are usually Adrian Peterson coming back. He's being considered by many to be up there. Le'Veon Bell, but he's got a suspension that you have to be concerned about, and Jamal Charles. The only other name we really throw in there is Eddie Lacy. Those are the top 4 guys fighting for the first 3 spots.
Wow, so that position has changed a lot. One guy didn't play last year. You mentioned a guy who's suspended, and Charles, who's been some injury-prone himself. What about a guy who was drafted high last year, changed teams, LeSean McCoy? What's the move to Buffalo going to do for him?
We've looked at McCoy a lot, and it seems that Chip Kelly may be onto something, that the guy was a little bit slower than you expect and didn't have that burst. We're thinking that he's more, he's positioned to be a top 10 running back 1, and we know that Rex Ryan's going to lean on him a lot, but he's more of a second-round pick in most fantasy drafts.
Jeff Pasquino, footballguys.com. The running back spot, you mentioned Le'Veon Bell here. His name has kind of popped out. Even with the suspension, though, you think that he's a guy you should take in the top 3?
Well, yeah, because it really depends on how long your league runs. And, once he's back, he's dominant. And you're not it's not because he's out with an injury. It's because he's out due to suspension. So him, LeGarrette Blount, guys that are missing time due to suspension, they're going to come back and they'll be raring to go, as opposed to a guy with a hamstring or an ankle who may be kind of gimpy to get back and kind of easing himself in. Those guys will be ready to go as soon as they can play.
What about Matt Forte? He's a guy last year. I know he helped me win my league. I took him number 3 overall. Is Matt Forte still a guy that you take high, that top 5? He's
a solid guy, but he's sliding back into the back of the first round. So him and Murray or Matt. Forte. You got C.J. Anderson, even a Jeremy Hill if you really want to reach a little bit. Those are the guys you're looking right at the back in round 1. Wow. A lot of people are thinking that Forte's not going to catch as many passes this year from Jay Cutler.
Let's take a look at, obviously, DeMarco Murray here in Philadelphia. Led the league in rushing last year, had a monster year. What does Philadelphia do for him?
Well, I think that Murray's going to be running a little bit more now that we know that Zach Ertz is out. Not that we didn't think that Brent Selleck was going to be out there blocking for him, but the Eagles do like to run. They run the ball to set up the pass, and they run a lot of plays. So Murray's going to get a lot of work, but I also like the backups for Philadelphia. I like Sproles, and I like Ryan Matthews. I think all 3 guys will be in the mix.
How about Marshawn Lynch? Obviously, Seattle likes to run the ball, but they did add Jimmy Graham in the offseason. Does that hurt Lynch, or is he where do you put? Is he a top 5 running back right now?
He's just sitting outside that top 5. He's a top 5 running back, but he's not in the top 5 pick. So he's the one guy you would get if you have a pick round 7, picking 7th, 8th, or 9th in your draft. You might be happy to have Lynch fall in your lap right there. All
right, we're looking at running backs for the fantasy football draft coming up for you guys out there here on the Sports Bet. Jeff Pasquino, footballguys.com. Justin Steer, is he a second-rounder now?
He is borderline second. He's right there at number 25 overall. He's even higher in PPR leagues because a lot of people are thinking he's going to get a lot of catches out of the backfield this year. He was a workhorse, and he's going to be using that role again this year.
Who's running the ball in Denver? And if there's somebody is a number 1 guy in Denver, should you get him possibly first or second round?
Well, C.J. Anderson is going to be the number 1 guy, and he's going to be the back end of the first round. And he is probably going to be the workhorse. Monty Ball and Ronnie Hillman will be your backups. There's a couple of rookie prospects out there, but those are your top 3 right now. And with people suspecting that Peyton Manning might be losing a little bit, everybody's saying he looks good right now, but the season is long and it does wear down. Anderson could see even more work to come fantasy playoff season.
All right, Frank Gore went from San Francisco to Philadelphia momentarily, then over to Indianapolis. Is Frank Gore with the Colts the best spot for him, and does that make him a viable pick?
Well, I like to look at Frank Gore as kind of an older Joseph Adai, but better. Okay, Frank Gore, he's very quality. He's going to be his best quarterback probably arguably in his career, and the passing game is going to open up huge running lanes, and he's going to catch the ball well. I think it's a great situation for Gore. I think he's going to perform well, and I think he's a borderline running back one that you can have in the third round.
A lot of people, I would include it, took Lamar Miller last year as a flyer, ended up being a pretty steady guy. Do you like him down there in Miami again?
Yes, I do. I think he's going to be a workhorse. I think the Miami offense is very underrated right now, from Tannehill on down. Miller is another borderline running back one, and he's going to be in all three downs. J.A.J.E. has not shown anything, so I think you're looking for Miller for a lot of work this year.
All right, Alfred Morris has been a guy that if you had him the last couple of years, he gave you some steady production in Washington. Do you like Morris, and where do you take him?
He's steady but not flashy. He's right in that running back 15 to 20 range, about the fourth round. He is solid for finding the end zone, but he doesn't catch the ball very effectively. But Hurley's not there any longer, so I think Morris could show a little bit of upside. He's not a sexy pick, but he's a solid running back too.
Yeah, the depth at running back is really light this year. Mark Ingram's a guy that played well when he was healthy last year, got hurt. Surprised that he went back to New Orleans. What's that do for him?
Well, New Orleans, they want to run the ball more this year, and Mark Ingram's going to be the lead back. So I think he's going to get a lot more work than people are expecting. The question is, are the Saints going to be leading enough for Ingram getting carries in the fourth quarter? I think a guy that's Ingram's going about the 15th running back. The 18th running back is his teammate, C.J. Spiller, who's looking to catch a lot of passes in a Sproles-like work with Drew Brees.
All right, let's look at Todd Gurley, one of the top backs. Everybody talked about him coming out of the draft. There's some talk that he might not be ready to go, so where should you take a guy like Gurley?
Gurley's going about the running back 20 to 25 range, so it's a late round, later fifth, sixth round type pick. If you pick him there, you're probably going to want to try and handcuff him with Trey Mason a little bit later. But I think that Gurley may not be ready for week one, but the Rams love him. They're probably going to use both those guys. Let Mason lead the backfield for the first month and let Gurley get used to it. But Gurley will probably come on strong at the end of the season. Who
is running the ball in Dallas, and are they a viable pick?
Joseph Randle. All signs point to Joseph Randle. Darren McFadden, last I checked, he's probably hurt again. So you're looking at Randle almost by default. But he's shown well. He's looked very good. They had a guy, Gus Johnson, last night who got dinged up. They do like him. He's a little bit dinged, but he's probably going to be pushing for that backup, Lance Dunbar. Not many names behind Randle. With that offensive line being effective and the passing game that could shine, I think Randle could be a solid running back too.
All right, Jeff Pasquino, footballguys.com. We're previewing the running backs for your fantasy football draft this year. Who are some sleeper names that you like, Jeff?
Well, I think Tampa Bay is going to run the ball a lot, and that's going to be an underrated offense. You're looking with a rookie quarterback and a decent passing game. So Doug Martin is being kind of earmarked as the lead running back. He's available about round 8 as a running back 3, and I think he could be a solid running back 2. Other guys I like, Detroit is all about the rookie Amir Abdullah, who is playing very well. Joey Bell is hurt. Abdullah is getting a lot of touches and working with the ones. He could be your lead back in Detroit, which is a solid offense. I think Giovanni Bernard is also getting overlooked a lot. He's available as a running back 3, but Cincinnati loves to run the ball as well. And then whoever wins in Atlanta, both guys are hurt right now. You got Tevin Coleman, and you've got Devonta Freeman. Both those guys are battling for the lead job. I think one of those guys is going to look pretty good for Atlanta. It's also going to be overlooked by a lot of people.
All right, who are some busts that you're a little leery of?
Ooh, bust. I'm not a huge fan of Carlos Hyde in San Francisco. I think San Francisco's going to be a mess this year. Hyde is being drafted as running back 17 ahead of Spiller or Randall or Gurley. I'm not a big fan of that. I would even take Latavius Murray over Carlos Hyde. I do like T.J. Yeldon in Jacksonville, but you got to believe in that offense, so it's a little bit iffy there. I say he's my number one. I'm going to avoid.
All right, Jeff Pasquino, footballguys.com. We'll be previewing the wide receivers next time we talk. And there is a very deep wide receiver class, but how deep is it? Find out the next time we check in. That's a look at the running backs there. I'm looking at some mock drafts have Antonio Brown going number 1 overall. So is it this the year of the wide receiver finally takes over the running back for number one? Would you take a wide receiver over these running backs?
In a PPR league with start 3 in a flex, I might. But I'm probably looking at, I think the first 5 picks have to be running back, and then I immediately go to either Gronkowski or the next 5 or 6 wide receivers.
All right, Jeff Pasquino, footballguys.com, all fantasy football season long with us on the Sports Bash 97.3 ESPN. Jeff, have a good week, man.
You too. Enjoy your vacation.